guys, I am the CHALL, your sports channel, especially Dogster Rovers content, and when's it going to end? When is the EFL's treatment of clubs going to end? How did it get to this? Why did it get to this? And how was it allowed to continue without being investigated? I just don't understand it. I really don't understand it. Macclesfield have wound up in court, which means the club will probably be liquidated, if not completely liquidated entirely. Why are we letting? Why is this happening? Why is this happening? And I'm going to talk about the EFL. I'm going to talk about what needs to happen to prevent stuff like this from happening again. And we also need to discuss the EFL in general, because there's a reason why the West Brom chief executive came out and said we needed to get out that league. Crime in football. EFL corrupt. There needs to be an investigation. Is there any wonder why? Now, I'm going to share with you all the information surrounding this, and because we're a Donny Rovers fan channel, we don't usually talk about other clubs, but in this kind of situation, we absolutely need to talk about it, because we need to give Macclesfield the coverage it deserves. We need to give all these clubs the coverage it deserves and prove the EFL cannot destroy football clubs. So I'm going to share with you all the information on this article and share with you just my thoughts on the whole thing. And trust me, there's a lot of anger coming the EFL's way. And I'm actually going to talk about a little bit about the sort of court battle that's possibly going to be happening, or looks to be happening, between Mike Ashley and the Premier League, because it kind of links into what my theory is, what should happen in my opinion. So let's go on about Macclesfield and let's see what, according to BBC Sport, let's see what the whole situation is been revealed as this morning. So BBC Sport has reported that Macclesfield Town FC have been wound up in the High Court over debts totalling more than £500,000. Judge Sebastian Prentice made a winding up order during a hearing in the Insolvency and Companies Court after being told £190,000 was owed in tax. In addition, a solicitor for John Askey said the National League club's ex-manager was owed £173,000, while a financial lender was owed the same sum. The club's owner, Amar Al-Qadi, has asked for a further 8-week adjournment. The decision to wind up the club just comes after a month after the Macclesfield were relegated from the Football League at the end of a tumultuous 1920 season on and off the pitch. Players went on strike in November after failing to be paid, while resulting in the club's fielding youth players in their FA Cup defeat by Kingstonian, while the Silkmen were deducted points on 3 separate occasions for issues relating to payment of salaries and failure to fulfil League 2 fixtures against Plymouth Argyle, who are now in League 1, and Crewe Alexandra, who are also now in League 1. Al-Qadi stepped down as chairman in August, just before the EFL won an appeal against what they saw as a lenient points deduction. The stronger punishment imposed by the independent panel resulted in their relegation to the National League and a reprieve for Stevenage, who finished at the bottom of the table when the season was curtailed because of the coronavirus pandemic. The winding up petition, which was adjourned for the 12th time last week, began in January 2019 and was scheduled to be heard again on Wednesday after Al-Qadi claimed the sale to Robert Benwell was at an advanced stage. Benwell, who previously tried to buy Bury, was not mentioned in court on Wednesday by Al-Qadi's lawyer, who asked for a further 8 weeks to allow a sale to go through. The judge later said that a business plan from Benwell had not been put forward to the court, however, and the court was told that Al-Qadi understood the amount due to creditors was actually just £4,000, had made a late offer to pay an initial £20,000 of the debt owed to HM Revenue and Customs, and had made available a screenshot of a bank statement with £1.1 million of funds to show the creditors could be paid. However, Judge Prentice said he would grant a compulsory order, saying nothing gives me comfort that the club can pay its debts at a reasonable period, and there had been ample opportunity for Al-Qadi to pay off creditors. He went on to say that he had not been told by Al-Qadi where the £1.1 million had come from or why outstanding debts had not already been paid. Now, having initially been founded as Macclesfield in 1874, the club were reformed in their current guise, Macclesfield Town FC, back in 1946 following the end of World War II. This club has such a rich history, and we've had this story for months and months. club after club, we've had this same story. A club with a rich history is being deprived of that history by bad owners let in by a corrupt football league. A club with a rich history in non-league football, twice winning the FA Trophy. They were promoted to the Football League for the first time back in 1997. They spent 15 years in the EFL, even briefly playing in the third tier before being relegated back into the conference back in 2012. The somewhat known promotion back to League 2 back in 2018, but their most recent stay in the EFL was proved short-lived after a host of financial problems, which eventually culminated in their relegation and, of course, reprieve for Stevenage. I'm absolutely fuming. This channel, I don't want to swear on this channel. I really don't, and I'm struggling right now to not swear. I swear to God, because it's stuff like this. It might not be my club, but I still care about fans being deprived of their football club. I feel dishonoured as a football fan to just let this go. Okay, it might not be my club, but I would feel dishonoured to let this go. And this goes out to every single Macclesfield fan. I feel for you. I feel for you. Now, of course, it's not just Macclesfield that's in these problems. Charlton looks like they're going to get saved by this Sangard guy who, after chatting to Tyler off camera after we finished filming the video for the preview for the Charlton-Doncaster game, I was chatting to him about Sangard. He told me loads of stuff about Sangard and, you know, the phone call he actually made to fans protesting against the old owners, or the current owners, should we say, Roland. And, you know, he just sounds like the perfect guy to run a football club. So I hope Charlton get this guy in, because if they don't, then the EFL needs serious investigating if Charlton goes into a liquidation as well, and Charlton becomes, you know, a Phoenix club. If Wigan becomes a Phoenix club, if Southend United become a Phoenix club, because don't forget, they're in League 2 now. They've got off-field financial problems with a winding up order in the past. You know, Southend are in financial difficulties as well because of the ownership. And Southend, they could be the next to be liquidated, and they could be the next to become an AFC club, like a Bury, to rise from the ashes. Could you imagine if Bolton went into liquidation, but thank God they were saved? Oh wait, Bolton's got Premier League experience, so they look good on us. Let's save them, and let's get rid of Bury. Because you know what? You know what's going to happen with Macclesfield, don't you? You just know what's going to happen. Macclesfield have such a rich history. It may not be world-class Premier League Championship history. It's League 1, briefly, League 2 and Conference history, but they've got loads of history behind their club, and they've got so many good memories with that club. But the EFL are just going to be like, you know what? It's Macclesfield. They're not really advertising anything for the league with us. They're not exactly, you know, the biggest club in our leagues. Let's just sweep them under the carpet. They can start again in the non-league. And you know what? You know, we'll just, you know, replace them maybe. Maybe we'll, you know, maybe when Southend goes out of business, and we'll let them go out of business because we don't give a crap about EFL football clubs in our own leagues. Maybe we'll, you know, sweep them under the carpet, and we'll contact the corrupt Premier League, and we'll say, hey, even though you know, you let the Newcastle takeover go, and for the first time in his life Mike Ashley was actually telling the truth, maybe, you know, we can bring in a Premier League B team, you know, and you just know what's going to happen. The EFL and the Premier League are going to come to some sort of corrupt agreement that once proper football clubs go under and Phoenix clubs rise up in non-league football, they're just going to replace them with Premier League B teams, a Man United B team, a Man City B team, a Liverpool B team, and they'll play home when the big clubs are playing away. It's crime in football. It is corrupt as anything, and it needs to stop. What more is it going to take? What more are we going to sit here and take this from the corrupt EFL? And I said this before, and I'll say it again. West Brom's now former chief executive Mark Jenkins came out on BBC Sport and said, we needed to get out that league. EFL needs an investigation. When you've got a chief executive of a top club like West Brom at championship level, after being promoted to the Premier League, you know, they're celebrating, way, we're up to the Premier League again, we've finished our stay in the EFL, way. And Mark Jenkins comes out and says, we needed to get out that league. EFL needs an investigation. We needed to get away from that. What does that tell you from a big club? They should be happy that they're a Premier League club, But that's been overshadowed a bit by Mark Jenkins coming out and saying the EFL needs an investigation. We needed to get out of that league as quick as possible. What does that tell you? But you just know what's going to happen. You just know what's going to happen. Macclesfield Town are going to be forcibly liquidated. Chairman's going to go take them under again, and Macclesfield will just become AFC Macclesfield at Tier 8 or Tier 9. And to be honest, I think that's 95% going to happen, because the EFL do not give a flying one about history. All they care about is, which teams look better on us than other teams, you know. Let's compare Macclesfield with Charlton. Now, I'm not saying anything to disrespect Charlton fans, but I'm just comparing the two clubs. Charlton, they've got Premier League experience, maybe a new Danish owner coming in that looks, you know, a good businessman, you know, not a football, even though Sangard is a football fan, they may not even care that he's a football fan. They may look at it and say, well, Sangard may be a football fan, but we care about business, you know, because football's a business, not a sport. That's all we care about. So, you know, Charlton's got Premier League experience. They look a good advertisement for our league. Let's keep them. Macclesfield, they've got a long history, but yeah, it's like Bury, you know, I don't think they're the best advertisement. They're not the best club to make us look good. So, you know, we'll just sweep them under the carpet. They can come up again, and then we can take responsibility for their rising story. What is wrong? What is not wrong about that? What is not corrupt about that? And, you know, I've said this in past videos. I think I said it in the Charlton video. I said this in the Wigan video. Rick Parry, the EFL chairman, is a disgrace to the sport. He's an absolute disgrace. And they came out and said, well, he only became chairman a few months ago. We can't really sack him because he only just came in. So? Sack him! If he's letting clubs with such rich history get swept under the carpet, then he's not fit to run the league. Get rid of him. I don't care if you brought him in months ago. Football clubs get rid of managers weeks ago, days ago. You know, Crystal Palace, it only took them 7 games to sack Frank de Boer. It only took, you know, certain other clubs a few weeks before they sack managers. It's killing me, man. I love this sport to pieces, and it's bloody killing me to see teams getting mistreated, seeing teams get misled, seeing teams get put under the hammer. And we've seen so many of this over this period of time. And there's clubs that have been through this, and thank God they've come out the other side. Blackpool, Leyton Orient, Bolton, you know, and there's so many clubs that have actually not survived through this. They've had to start again. Hereford United, folded. Now it's AFC Hereford. Bury, gone. Yes, they're a club, but they're not in a league. They're still owned by that idiot Steve Dale. And now they're AFC Bury, and that's a success story in itself because they've been treated badly. And this guy that was apparently in advanced talks to buy Macclesfield, what's his name, this Dinswell guy, you know, the fact that he was in talks to buy Bury, what? Oh my god. I can't even be bothered. I really can't be bothered. Honestly, it's just going to be the same thing over and over and over again. But don't you dare think I'm going to stop making these videos if another club goes under. Don't you even think about it. Because I will give these clubs the coverage they deserve, because other people don't give a damn. Other people do not give a damn about football clubs. EFL do not give a damn. Now, I said at the beginning of this video, I was going to talk a little bit about the Premier League versus Mike Ashley rivalry that's going to end up in court. And for those of you who don't know the situation, Mike Ashley, he wants to take the Premier League to court because of the whole Newcastle takeover. Mike Ashley did everything on his end. The Premier League sat on this for ages and just didn't let it go through for some unknown reason, which we kind of have an idea why. But one of those people is a liar. Now, of course, you know, Newcastle fans in past occasions and what Mike Ashley's done with the club can sit there and say, Mike Ashley's a liar. But you've got to look at it now and think, well, hang on a minute. Mike Ashley did everything on his end. He backed Steve Bruce with Lee Charles in the transfer market this year with Wilson, Lewis and Fraser. Hang on a minute. If the Premier League sat on this for ages, Mike Ashley's telling the truth. And surely that should be enough to say, Richard Masters, Chief Executive of the Premier League, get gone. This is a guy that has forced clubs, reportedly when Bury went down, This was a report that Masters actually got clubs to give him a £250,000 bonus. Why are people taking advantage of the sport we love? I don't get it. And this is why I wanted to talk about Mike Ashley a little bit, because I wanted to share my theory, and I shared this with Tyler off camera, the Charlton fan. I've shared this with, friends, with family, with everything. Any opportunity I've had to talk about this, I've shared my theory, and I'm going to share it with you right now. And I swear to God, I hope the EFL and the Premier League are listening to this, because they need to listen and open up their ears to fans rather than their own business greedy, money grabbing selves. My theory is there should be one company, one. I don't care whether it's Barclays, I don't care whether it's friggin' Lloyd's Bank, I don't care. A company with financial investment and a love for the sport take over all 4 leagues. It becomes a Premiership League, a Premiership Division 1, a Premiership Division 2, a Premiership Division 3. All 4 leagues, one company. So then we don't have a corrupt Premier League and a corrupt EFL doing what they like with whoever they like. Then it means that if it's a £1 billion company owning all 4 divisions, then financial situations at lower league clubs will be more stable. They will get more investment. They will get more TV coverage, which means they'll add more revenue to their bank accounts. And it gives them a fair shot of reaching the top level of English football. And then the Premier League clubs won't feel like they're top dogs anymore. Premier League won't feel like they are the top, guy in the business anymore, because they're in the same pyramid. Premier League is pyramid level 1. Championship's level 2. They're getting there. League 1's Division 3 and League 2's Division 4. And the National League is Division 5 and the North and South 6 and so forth. But you've got to look on the basis of it and say the Premier League, the Championship, the League 1 and the League 2 are in the same bloody pyramid. They're in the same league. But however, because the Premier League gets more attention and more player contracts, they are like miles away, and the Championship is just a couple of steps behind them, and League 1 and League 2 are right down there. And it doesn't help with salary caps. It does not help. There's a reason why salary caps had a mixed response. Player contracts being minimised, salary caps on, means that League 1 and League 2 clubs cannot survive. So anyone coming down from the Championship, they're done. Because with the salary caps, you can't do enough to get back up there. And clubs that go up from League 1 to the Championship are going to be going straight back down because they didn't have the financial support to support them over the window and help them invest to stay in the Championship. It is an absolute disgrace. It is a crime against sport. The EFL should be ashamed of themselves again, but they probably don't because they're sitting with money in their pockets. The Premier League with the Mike Ashley situation, for the first time I'll actually back Mike Ashley and say, you know what, I think he's telling the truth. And the Premier League should be ashamed of themselves. And there should be an investigation into both leagues. But you know what's going to happen. The EFL are going to continue bringing clubs down, taking them down, putting Premier League B teams in their place, making them look like an extra Premier League, get more money in their pocket. And the Premier League, well, they're going to keep Richard Masters on, aren't they? Even if they get found guilty of misconduct, Masters will stay chief executive, Premier League clubs will get more money. And you know what? I want to alert to this. I really want to alert to the fact that I want to talk about England in general, English football. English footballers, as soon as they get a little bit of potential, here's a massive contract. And that's only for Premier League players, Only just Premier League players. If you're in Championship, League 1, League 2, and you're an English talent that looks good, nah, we'll keep you on the low paycheck because you're not playing at a higher league, you're not getting much attention. What's fair about that? What is fair about that? And I'm going to quote something that Alan Shearer said when we lost to Iceland 2-1 in Euro 2016, and it kind of resonates for why we just beat Iceland 1-0 on a penalty, and we drew 0-0 to Denmark, and we'll probably get smashed by Belgium in the next Nations League fixture. We hype up our own Premier League. We hype up our own leagues. And it's not as good as we hype it up to be. and there's just proof in the pudding. There's more passion in League One and League Two than there is in the Premier League. Championship, yeah, kind of. But I think there's more passion in League One and League Two than the Premier League and Championship combined. And Championship does show some passion, loads of passion. Especially with the fan base they've got. The fan bases, they show the most passion out of all of them. And it's the fan bases, voices, who are being quietened down. You know, they're being faded out, like you're on TalkSport and you've got those, you know, corrupt journalists, you know, trying to silence fans. Do you remember DT a few years ago that got silenced by talking about the Mesut Ozil situation by a TalkSport journalist? Fans aren't important to the game anymore, and it should be. It absolutely should be. So, you know, that's just my rant about Macclesfield going under. Obviously, we'll know for certain what's going to happen. My honest opinion what's going to happen, and it absolutely kills me to say this, but you just know what's going to happen. Macclesfield are going to go under, they're going to become AFC Macclesfield, they're going to go into non-league, and they're going to get replaced by some B team. Whether it's a Championship team or a Premier League team, they're going to get replaced by some B team in non-league football, because the National League, I mean, maybe they'll compete with just 23 teams in the National League. And that's not the National League's fault, by the way. You know, nothing to do with the National League at all. This is the EFL's crimes, and the National League, if they're going to operate with 23 teams, Jesus Christ, they're going to get absolutely punished. And the EFL, well, they're just going to put an extra relegation place on. You know, if the National League's competing with 23 teams this year, then you just know the EFL's going to put one more relegation place on and send one more team into financial despair. It's not fair. It is not fair. Rick Parry, shame on you. Richard Masters, Chief Executive of the Premier League, you're a disgrace. Mark Jenkins, Chief Executive of West Brom, thank you so much for coming out and saying exactly what you said, because you've exposed the EFL for the absolute corruption they are. So I show you absolute respect for that, Mark. And for anyone else, any other top businessmen that have come out and said what they said about the EFL, good for you, because they deserve to be exposed. And any corrupt businessman who wants to buy a club for £1 or wants to run a football club without the sums to back it up but get let in anyway because the EFL don't have a proper persons test, my message to you is don't you dare, because let's look at a few clubs, shall we? There's clubs out there that if you ruin their club, you will be chased out of that stadium and beaten with corner flags, because you don't want to mess with fan bases, because when you get fan bases riled up, this is what happens. You get beaten with corner flags, you get, you know, and I don't condone this at all, you get abused by fans, which I don't condone. We should deal with it the right way, not the harsh way. Even though they do need a good wake-up call, it's too harsh doing abuse to owners. But when owners abuse the fans, apparently that's right. Apparently it's right to abuse fans, but, you know, it's not. It doesn't work either way. It doesn't. But any corrupt owners out there thinking of buying a football club, just wait till you've got millions sitting in your pocket so you've got the right money to run a football club. But any corrupt businessman with bankruptcy problems that think about owning a football club at all, I'd watch out if I were you, because there's a lot of fans that'll be coming after you. And the message is loud and clear at the minute. It could be your club next. Any fan sitting out there, whether it's Coventry, Swindon, Championship clubs even, Wickham, you know, any club that either gets a takeover or someone with financial backing, be careful, because it could be your club next. It could be your club next. So thank you very much. My name is the CHALL. Please like, comment, subscribe for more. I'm really sorry, Macclesfield fans, I had to do this, but, you know, you deserve respect. You deserve the absolute respect. And I guess I'll see you guys in the next DRFC video very, very soon. Take care, guys. Have an awesome day. Rick Parry, you're fired.